It's 48 years now since I went into what is sometimes called full-time Christian ministry. And for the first of those 5 years, my preaching in the main was not in the chapels and the churches, excuse me, and the gospel halls of Birmingham and the West Midlands, where I was based. It was mainly in the streets and in the marketplaces, perhaps particularly in the famous Birmingham Bullring Market. My boss in those days, a middle-aged man who had founded the Birmingham City Mission, and I in my early 20s, my boss in those days was particularly adept, very good, very skillful at getting a crowd to stop and to listen and to engage with the gospel message which he was preaching. And after he'd preached for some while to the crowd, he would then hand over to me so I could continue the preaching. And then we would both watch with some dismay as the crowd began to dissipate, the crowd he'd worked so hard to gather and to build up. So I said to him one day, "Edwin, what is the secret? What's the key to getting people to stop and pay attention, to getting and holding attention in the open air?" And he said this: "Fill your mind with stories, boy." He often used to call me boy. In fact, in his 93rd year and me in my early 70s, he was still calling me boy. Anyway, he would say, "Fill your mind with stories, boy. People love to be told stories." Well, of course, that wasn't a lesson which was original to my boss and my friend all those years ago. Jesus knew the value of a well-told story. Part of the genius of his teaching was not just what he taught, wonderful though that was. It was the way that he taught it, as he would illustrate and underline and reinforce the truth he was teaching by weaving stories into the narrative. People love to be told stories. And the stories of Jesus are most commonly, or have most commonly, been called parables. There is an old definition of a parable, which some of you will know. It is an earthly story with a heavenly meaning. I can almost sense your lips moving in sync as I give you that old definition. But I think I like just as much the more recent definition from Adrian Plass, who said that a parable is a story that keeps you talking on the doorstep whilst the truth pops in through a window at the back. Well, this week in these Counties Connect sessions, each day I'm going to be looking at one of the parables of Jesus. And we're going to give God a chance to pop some truth into our lives through the front door or possibly through a window at the back. And tomorrow I'm going to begin by looking at the most important parable. Important in the sense that a foundation is important to a building. A parable about which Jesus said that if we struggle to understand that one, we are really going to have problems with the rest. So I look forward to you joining me. I hope you do, and that God will speak to us all together through these wonderful stories of Jesus.